I created Fiestravaganza, my goal was not just to create one out of hundreds of festivals that already exist in Europe. I think there are plenty of amazing festivals that potential pianists can attend.
Yeah, start from the beginning. Where did the idea come from, or when did you first have the idea that this is a festival just for pianists?
Yes.
Okay.
At the moment, the first edition is just for pianists.
Okay.
I hope it expands in the future, but it has to start somewhere. And I mean, of course, piano is my territory, so I'm just more familiar with how to organize something like that. I mean, the thing is, I have already close to 8 years of teaching experience now. So teaching is very much like a forefront of my career as much as performing is. 8 years ago, I became assistant to my professor at the Mozarteum. So I was they call it a student assistant because I was still studying at the time. And as my professor was the head, not the Karl-Heinz Kamelin, he passed away when I was in the military, but my other professor, Andreas Faber, he was the director of the Young Talent Institute at the Mozarteum. So this kind of like a pre-college division. So he had many pre-college students in his class, and I was dealing a lot with them. I was working a lot with them, and then I realized that I'm really good with kids. They like me also because I'm not that much older than them, but I have certain experiences that I can share. And later on, I was also part of like master classes, like teaching master classes as well in the Summer Academy of Mozarteum, and I was spearheading with my professor. This young talent, they call it the intensive course for young talents. The idea behind Fiestravaganza International Music Academy is to provide, again, this young rising talents opportunities that is hard to come by in their youth. Because I think when you are 18 onwards, you have hundreds of international competitions you can go to. If you get to the final round, you get to perform in the orchestra, so you get this exposure and all that. But I think when you're 10, when you're 12, when you're 13, you're limited on the kind of experiences that you can, or the exposure that you can get. In Singapore, in Malaysia, Indonesia, in Southeast Asia, these areas, I guess I saw that we have a lot of really talented kids who maybe are a little bit ignorant or gullible to, like I was, when I was in my country, just because they are not exposed to what's out there and what needs to be done and what it takes to be out there.
Exactly.
So that's why I wanted to, although it's an international festival, I state that I am especially helping these people. And actually from the participants who are coming, we already have 7 of them who are flying in, who are residents of my country.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great.
So they're coming all the way, from my country, 12 hours flight with their parents because they're all underage, here to get lessons from very important professors to experience things that we cannot get in our country. For example, the vintage instrument collections. This is something that is very unique, you know what I mean? Again, I ask myself, how do I stand out from other festivals? With Fiestravaganza, what I'm offering is up to 4 concerts, 3 solo concerts, but 1 with orchestra. And many of these kids have never played with orchestra before. So I'm taking actually a leap of faith in these kids. Of course, I make sure that I know that they're capable of doing it, but it's still a gamble, I have to sort of like see the situation if I think that they can really pull it off. But I don't know because they have, a lot of them, not all, but some of them really have never played with orchestra before. And I'm offering them a debut chance to play with an orchestra.
That's amazing.
And not a 10 or 20 member orchestra. 40, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Thanks to the cooperation that I'm doing with Bergstein, they allowed me access to their vintage instrument collection, keyboard instrument collection. And they have one of the largest in the world. So they literally have a room with like 50 pianos all the way from Mozart's time. So I was
oh my God. They have a showroom?
It's not a public showroom.
Oh, it's not public.
It's not a public showroom. It's an exclusive chance to work with because not anybody can just access that. It's
my gosh,
it's a collection
of
instruments. Yeah, they spend for sure millions to collect these instruments and restore them, And they even have like a Pleyel from Chopin, some Broadwood, some, from Mozart's time, Viennese instruments, instruments from. Well, it's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And I just this idea came to my mind. What if a professor could teach Chopin on Chopin's piano and Mozart on Mozart's piano? That is something.
My
you know?
gosh.
It's just about understanding. I mean, even though that at the end of the day we are playing on modern instruments, our concerts we are competing on modern instruments. Sometimes you need to really have the first-hand, or it helps, let's say, it helps to have the first-hand experience on the instruments which the composers are composing on in order to fully understand why composers wrote certain things a certain way. Like in Chopin's time, the pedals were not as sensitive as they were now. So that's why in Chopin's music, I'm just giving Chopin as an example, you see he's pedaling much longer than would otherwise fit the modern instruments. And if you were to follow his pedaling, it sounds terrible on our modern instruments. And, you know, to hands-on with a piano like his, to actually understand why he wrote that way, and then see how you translate it to a modern instrument and how to, you know, shorten the pedal and how much to shorten the pedal to have the same kind of effect that he wanted on his piano. We are offering each participant 5 lessons because they will get 2 lessons from Professor Jacques Rouvier, 2 lessons with Professor Lucas Blondel, who's also forte piano professor at the UDK.
Wow.
So he's the one that's going to be teaching the students on the forte pianos.
Okay.
Then they will have a lesson with me. So 5 lessons per student over the course of just 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And then after that comes all the concerts. So on Thursday, the 13th of July, we already have our first concert at the Bergstein Zentrum. It's a smaller venue that's more like a preparation concert so that they get to play and the stuff that they work on with the professors. And then on the 15th is this huge concert at Amaral Palace. And that one's a huge hall, like 4,300 people or something like this. I hope that people come. It's free. All concerts are free.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm doing that because I'm hoping to attract the attention. That's happening in the evening. There we will have 8 of us, so 7 participants and myself, 8 pianists playing with the Camerata Fiestravaganza Orchestra under the conductor Evan
Kriest again.
Evan Kriest again.
Great,
exactly.
Great.
So,
he's fantastic.
Yeah. He's really,
what
really
a great
good
conductor and such a sunny personality guy like you. So.
Yeah. And on the 16th, we actually have 2 concerts. We have the Schwarze Villa concert. It's a very cozy room in the actually near where you live, right? In Steglitz.
Yeah, I've been there before.
It's not too far, right?
I think 2 or 3 concerts there before.
Yeah.
It's beautiful there.
Yeah, so that's just a lunchtime thing at 12. And then comes the final gala concert. And that is at 7 at the Kulturhaus Peter Eder. This is near Weißensee. It's a ballroom. It's beautiful. And I chose that place because it's very fitting for the certificate giving ceremony. I think that would be cute that, you know, the participants go out on stage, get a little certificate, a goodie bag, whatever, you know. We want it to be memorable for everyone so they go home and they can spread the word and, you know, have a good experience. I'm hoping that this will develop into real intercultural relations between the countries because, you know, the people that are supporting my festival, they're not just commercial companies, but they are actually also the government. So actually my biggest sponsor, apart from the Bergstein Corporation, is actually the Singapore government.
Wow, that's great.
The National Arts Council, which is by the Ministry of Culture, they gave me this scholarship to run this, and also the Singapore Embassy in Berlin.